All right, hey everybody, welcome back to Haman's Advice Forum. I'm the Haman, and in this video, I'm going to talk about what I think was the biggest mistake I made in life. So, when I was a kid in school, there was always a part of me that was just deeply suspicious about most adults, and I just thought that they were lying to me and they were full of shit. But at the same time, once I did graduate from high school, I really wanted to give people a chance because I just thought, like, man, I have so much more free time and I want to, uh, I'm 18, but I have until, let's say, supposedly until 65 to be a productive member of society and want to do what's best for me and my community and the people that I know. And I'll be honest, there kind of was a part of me inside of me that was probably more naive as an adult than as a kid, because as a kid, I was much more suspicious of adults in general. But when you're an adult, the fact it's very okay. So when you're a kid, it's much easier to believe that adults are evil because they're not your peers. But when you're an adult and these are your peers, it's a lot harder to believe that the people around you are there to screw you and waste your time. And so what happened to me, and this is pretty much the biggest mistake that I made, I really should have done whatever I could to kind of keep that mentality that I had as a child, that most adults were there to fuck me over and waste my time. Because eventually that's what happened when I did become an adult. I made the worst assumption ever, which is to believe that most people would not waste my time, that people wanted what's best for me or even for themselves, and we would all learn and grow together. Now, when I turned 18, 19, why is it that when I was in my early 20s, I became so depressed that I just stopped taking care of myself? Just meeting person after person after person who would just waste my time, and that really just took a toll on my mental health. It really did. People who promised me things that never materialized, and it made me feel like I was insane for wanting the things that they promised me. Right? That happened to me so many times. Just people who do not keep their word and were fucking unreliable. Meeting people who just pretty much try to wear me down mentally and tell me I'm fucking stupid for having my own opinions. Just just not even being able to meet one single fucking person who has just a set of decency, like sense of decency and morals. And you have no idea how devastated I was that I just can't meet a single person who just has a sense of decency. Whereas I could have sworn in my teenage years there might have been at least 3 to 5 people in my life who I could have maybe sort of counted on. And so, if I could do it over again, probably when I was 18, I would have cut out pretty much every single person in my life, because even if they were good people back when I was younger, they were going to turn into scumbags. And it's not a coincidence that in my life right now that I have a lot more money and can relax. And even during COVID, when most people are suffering economically, I know I'm in a position of privilege right at this stage of my life, because I don't have to really worry about money unless like the economy like totally collapses, right? And whereas in my 20s, I had no money. I suffered greatly mentally because, I just made the assumption that I could just trust most people. Whereas now, I don't make that assumption anymore. In fact, I just think I just can't trust anybody. And because I think that way, that's allowed me to easily make more money and live my life in a comfortable way, which sucks. I don't think anybody really wants to think that way about the people in their lives. But I think after a certain point, just being disappointed over and over and over and over again by the people around you, it's just like, fuck this, And I think I was like 27, decided I'm going to move, or I forgot what age I was. Maybe I was 25. And then I suffered more because, again, I wasn't prepared for life. But then eventually, if you find out how to kind of make it, and I'm talking about financially, of course, but I feel like at this point of my life, I should have been here when I was 18. If I just had a proper mentor or someone who didn't lie to me, You know, if at least one person I could have count on, being successful would have been really easy at 18 or 19. But the fact is that most people I knew were scumbags, and I wish that I cut them out of my life at an early age. You know, so that's pretty much the biggest mistake of my life. I mean, the biggest mistake of my life was once I turned an adult. Um, I should have just cut out most people in my life. You know, I should have just cut out most people, pretty much every single person, and just kind of swallowed, just swallowed the hard facts that that the people in my life that I grew up with were just total scumbags, and there's nobody I can trust, really, and nobody wanted to learn and grow with me either. Yeah, and that's kind of like, right now I don't. That doesn't affect me saying these things, but if someone told me that when I was 18, I would just tell them, no, the people that I knew are decent people, and that you're wrong. And it turns out that the older version of myself, if I could tell that person, if I were talking to an older version of myself, I would just be like shocked that this is that person was telling me the truth. But you know, I cannot believe that that's how most people turned out, and that's kind of something similar to what Adam Carolla said. I mean, if you look on YouTube where Adam Carolla talks about adults, he talks about how disappointed he is at just how most adults turned out, and that's just how I feel too. And of course, when people listen to this, they're gonna point the finger at me, and that's why I don't talk to them, because that's their attitude. Instead of saying, hey, I can do better and I could serve the people around me better, they're just going to point the finger at you, and lie and steal and cheat, and then once they waste your time, they're going to blame the victim and point the finger at you. And that's what it doesn't. I'm not the only person who experienced this. There are a lot of people out there who's experienced this, but because of shame and fear, and they get the finger pointed at them by their perpetrators. They they don't know what they don't. This is why so many people think of suicide when they're young, because they're really just taking advantage of people around them. All right, so this is the Han Man here. If you have any thoughts, comments, leave them below, and I'll see you guys next time.